Hi everyone, and welcome to this video on the AgilePoint AI Control Tower. In this video, we're going to highlight how the Control Tower framework can help organizations cost-effectively and safely operationalize AI through process. This video is going to highlight how the Control Towers can help our customers build applications that respond to external inputs. Think of things like market or competitive pressures, as well as trends within the organization. And most importantly, do so without AI skills. So what exactly do we mean by operationalizing AI? Well, for most organizations, there are separate teams that are responsible for both AI and data and business applications, which results in two totally separate development tracks. What we've seen through our extensive in-market research is that lots of effort and human capital costs have been allocated to AI with minimal immediate returns and very low overall ROI. So as a result, AgilePoint's Control Tower acts as a bridge to connect the two disparate tracks and allows AgilePoint customers to immediately leverage investments made in AI and easily apply them to business applications to generate immediate returns. So what does the picture look like now with the advent of the Control Tower? Well, it results in a symbiotic relationship between the various parts you're seeing on screen and transforms your business application into an ecosystem, one that can recognize and adapt in real time at just the right moment that your business requires. So first, just a quick note about the Control Tower framework itself. What this does is it allows business users and application subject matter experts to create applications that respond to inputs. And this is an open framework where you can either use the existing control towers that ship with the product, or you can empower your developers to create new ones that are 100% tailored to your organization. So to give you a little perspective as to how all of this works and how AgilePoint's solution is uniquely positioned to realize these benefits, let's first take a look at how most process automation solutions approach AI today. As you're seeing at the bottom, most of these solutions treat AI as yet another technology service, another API you can call. So what this results in is AI that is merely integrated at the task level, perhaps to make a decision at a specific point in the process. Overall, it's a rather incremental productivity enhancement for that specific task alone, and results in minimal return against extensive AI development costs. AgilePoint can also take this approach, but what we found is that it often merely increases friction and can cause confusion among the business user community. Contrast that with the tiered composability that the AgilePoint approach provides, meaning that business users can now consume these AI services and bring it into their business application without expert-level domain knowledge in AI, and results in a very clear-cut separation of AI logic from process and programming logic. As a result, we're taking agentic AI to the next level. Our control towers not only monitor the entire end-to-end process, but can also monitor across numerous processes as well, and allow for a clear pathway for our customers to apply AI to their applications. So at this stage, you might be wondering how all of this is going to work. Well, we're going to go into more detail during the demo portion, but in short, it's as straightforward as everything else in the platform. By that I mean powerful functionality that has been abstracted into drag, drop, and configure simplicity. So that again, we can democratize this powerful capability and allow for each stakeholder group or functional area that participates in a process to have multiple layers of control tower and give precise control over how they want AI to impact their processes. So here's the use case that we're going to leverage to illustrate how AgilePoint can operationalize AI cost-effectively through a high-valued process. A perfect example of such a process is order to cash. As you're seeing on screen, it's cross-functional. It's tied directly to revenue generation and customer experience. And at the top, we have two control towers at the top of your screen. They've been configured to monitor key stages of the value stream and ensure that the process executes in a way that is continually aligned to company objectives. It does so by mitigating risk and capitalizing on opportunity and adapting the process execution. Things like adding steps on the fly, moving forwards or backwards in the process based on what's best for the organization at that particular time. In other words, they're watching over the process to ensure for the best possible execution. So before we dive deeper, let's take a high-level view of the control tower behavior that you're seeing here on screen. Control Tower 1, in the top left-hand corner, has been built to the exact specifications of the order processing team to ensure exceptions and order alerts are handled gracefully and in the context of that transaction. Whereas Control Tower 2, on the right-hand side, has been built to mitigate risks associated with fulfillment and logistics, and again, to their exact specifications. So we're drilling in and seeing a little more detail here, and before we touch on the specific functions of each control tower, let's take a look at the typical process flow for an order. So, as an example, if the total sale amount is under $1 million, we would typically proceed from the sales order stage directly to fulfillment. But this would treat all products ordered the exact same, when there is likely very important context that might warrant different treatment for the best possible outcome for our organization. So with that being said, let's take a look at each of these control towers, which act as supervisors for each instance of our order to cash process and can even monitor across processes as needed. So our first control tower is looking at the characteristics of the products being purchased. So as an example, if a product ordered is in high demand, we might want to treat that differently than a product that sits in our warehouse for a longer period of time. The control tower is going to make this possible without adding significant complexity and maintenance overhead to the application itself. Now, the second control tower is looking at the likelihood for a shipping exception to ensure that we're able to deliver the products on time and will take corrective action if there's a good chance that delivery window will be missed. So what you're going to see here over the next couple of slides is an illustration not only of how precisely the control towers will work, but shows you the different modes that the control tower can operate in. So the first scenario offers a non-deterministic execution and brings a human in the loop, where the control tower is going to make a suggestion to adapt the process. We'll bring in a human task, maybe to an application owner or subject matter expert, where they can either accept or reject the control tower's recommendation. All right, so what you're going to see here is a salesperson entering an order with a total sale amount that is under $1 million. Now that being said, the products purchased are going to be in high demand. So the control tower will recognize this and issue an alert that there is an order exception, and in so doing is going to pause all of our downstream tasks. The control tower is going to surface a recommendation to an application owner or subject matter expert and suggest that a task is dynamically inserted into the process. Now, the task that gets inserted is up to what comes back from the model, but in the case of our high demand products, it might be a task to the finance team, where they can validate that the customer's creditworthiness and payment terms are in alignment with a product of that sort of popularity. Now, assuming this task is completed, we're going to perform an ad hoc skip forward in the process and remove the lock from our downstream steps, essentially resuming the normal processing. Now, scenario 2 is going to work a little bit differently. Rather than surfacing a suggestion to our application owner or subject matter expert, the control tower is going to take an automated action. Now, in this case, as you might recall, what we're looking at here is the likelihood for a shipping delay. So if the model determines that there's a high level of certainty that the shipment won't reach the customer on time with the current fulfillment configurations, the control tower is going to automatically roll the process backwards from the waiting for shipment stage back to fulfillment, where we can adjust the method of shipment, the delivery date, to avoid an unhappy customer. Okay, so with these details out of the way, let's jump into AgilePoint and see the control towers in action. Okay, so we're moving over to my landing page for the order to cash application. And as you're seeing across the top, I have various reporting widgets, including one that highlights the accuracy of the model that the control tower is using. Now, for those of you who are familiar with this space, you're probably wondering, how did we receive a 95% level of accuracy? The reason behind that is because AgilePoint supports what is known as closed loop optimization, where the model is trained with past runs of this particular process. Down below, I have my task list, as well as reports and details of past orders. So let's go ahead and kick off a scenario so that both the finance team control tower as well as the fulfillment control tower are activated. To save some time, I have an autofill button, but you're noticing on screen various data points that are being fed into the model. Things like account status, payment terms, and of course the products purchased. Now I know in this case that the stainless steel electrode is a product that is predicted to be in high demand at some stage during the fulfillment of this order. And with a quantity purchased of 40, we're staying under that $1 million threshold that we talked about earlier. So let's go ahead and kick this off. And in just a second, we're going to see AgilePoint's control tower raise an order alert over high demand products. Okay, so if I refresh my task list, we're going to see the order alert as well as a downstream step which has been locked. So if I click on shipping details here, we're going to receive a message from AgilePoint indicating that this step has been paused and that tasks need to be completed before we can resume our normal processing. So here is the order alert that's been raised to an application owner or a subject matter expert. And as you're seeing here, the model has predicted that the best next step in our flow is finance approval with a 95% level of certainty. So what I'm going to do here is specify who from the finance team should complete this step. So John Smith will complete the finance task, and I want to keep the lock on all of those downstream tasks. Okay, so when I refresh my task list here, we're going to see the finance step that has been dynamically inserted into our process. So now, as a member of the finance team, I'm again getting an alert indicating the process has been adapted and rerouted to me. So now I can take that offline action to review credit terms, payment terms, and things of that nature to make sure they are in the best interest of my organization. I'm going to go ahead and click approve to move the process forward. So at this stage, we're now going to resume the typical processing for the application. We have performed that ad hoc skip forward and going to pick up here with the shipping details. So now I'm going to play the role of a fulfillment team member. And again, what I'm going to do here is set up the scenario so that our logistics control tower is activated. So let's just say, as an example, that our customer had a very aggressive delivery time frame. Let's say they'd like it sometime this week. So I have 2 days, in effect, to deliver this product. Just so that we can follow along here, I'm going to open up the real-time process tracker. And there's going to be one other quick step that I need to action before we'll see our second control tower invoked. So now we're at the stage where we apply order insurance. So I'm going to see that on my task list. And in this particular case, I'm going to go with my typical provider. So now you're going to see the control tower roll the process backwards in real time. It's going to recognize there is a high level of certainty for an order exception. So you'll see the process proceed to the wait for shipment stage before automatically rolling back to shipping details. Now here, I can change the carrier or date of delivery as an example and avoid an unhappy customer. So that's going to conclude this video on AgilePoint's AI Control Tower. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.